Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Stephen Solaris, and for I want to say the better part of a year, I have been trying to teach myself the art of Forex. You've probably heard of it, and especially if you're here in the video, I assume it's somewhere in the title. But anyway, I've been trying to teach myself this art of Forex, the elusive art that supposedly 78% of traders that go in end up losing pretty much all their money. So after months of trying different methods, I eventually learned that technical analysis is, I want to say, almost useless. It's good for taking profit and seeing exactly at what level you can, how far you can expect the price to go before you actually take profit. Now, the method that I found actually does work quite well for me is to base myself on fundamental analysis. This means things regarding interest rates, monetary policy, sometimes politics. With these things, I've managed to have some degree of profit over the last couple of months, and it gave me enough confidence to finally take my first $500 and open a live account and start actually trading. Now, after about a month of this kind of trading, I was making profit, but I was having a really hard time knowing what to focus on, since there's economic news coming out almost every couple of minutes, 24 hours, 5 days a week. To put it lightly, it was driving me a little bit crazy. I had alarms at 3 a.m. just to wake up, see if there's any potential trade that I could take. And then suddenly I'd wake up, 5 hours later and see that the price had, for a little while, gone exactly the way I wanted it to go. And right before waking up, the price just completely dropped and ended me in loss. Eventually, I stumbled upon this program called Forex Source Terminal. It is, as you can tell, it's a terminal. It's a terminal that takes into account just the major currencies, and they pride themselves in listing every single event and possible catalyst that could cause a change in sentiment. I started following their YouTube channel, where once a week they would post tradable sentiment shifts, and I started having significant consistency just following their weekly YouTube video. Now, the problem was that it's one video per week, so it left me wanting a little bit more. Fast forward maybe a week later, and now I actually have access to the Forex Source Terminal. I'm really happy with my results so far, so I wanted to share with you exactly what my process is, how it works, and exactly how it has made my trades just better overall. I don't make trades because I'm bored anymore, which is a problem I used to have, and now I know with most certainty exactly what kind of events are moving the currencies in which I'm invested, and I know exactly what to look out for. They also have this really nice feature which is called a squawk, which is basically just an audio news feed through their terminal about news that could be relevant to the major currencies.
1.80%, this is lower than the previous was 1.86%.
So today is Friday, and I have just gone through a full 5 days of trading using the terminal. So I want to share with you exactly what my week was like Monday to Friday, and where and how I managed to secure some relatively consistent and profitable trades. They have a daily live sentiment analysis. During this live analysis, they basically tell you exactly what the risk sentiment is in the market, exactly how greedy or how afraid people are, which currencies are the strongest, which are the weakest, and what are potential trading opportunities during the day. Now, the main event on Monday was the inflation expectations for the Bank of New Zealand. According to the terminal, this particular piece of data would solidify the market on whether or not the Bank of New Zealand was going to cut rates or hold rates later this week. There was a lot of optimism leading into the event, so taking advantage of this, I placed a couple of long trades on the New Zealand dollar, which I would then cut loose right before the decision, which ended up in some light profits. However, what was really quite upsetting is that on Tuesday I was busy, and quite frankly, I forgot, but I missed out on the actual interest rate decision from the Bank of New Zealand, which surprised the markets. And what's most frustrating about it is that in the terminal it was actually highlighted specifically since the weekend before that this could be a potential hawkish sentiment shift. Now on Tuesday, the main focus was Trump's speech in New York, which presumably was going to mention things about the trade war with China. Anything good, meaning them coming to an agreement, is going to be really good for the market, and it would lead into a more risk-on tone, pushing up the Canada dollar, the Australia dollar, and other high beta currencies, and pushing down things like the yen, the Swiss franc, and other safe haven currencies. Knowing this, I tuned into the live analysis webinar in the morning where they told me the market's general expectations were for Trump to say something good about the trade deal with China, which essentially means that the high beta currencies would be pushed up leading into the event. I placed a light trade in the morning leading into the Trump speech, which resulted in some light pips as well. Then when the moment of the speech actually came, I tuned in. I had to listen to Trump speak about a whole bunch of things that were pretty irrelevant to what the market, at least the currency markets, were looking for, so there wasn't much movement there. However, he did mention China in a slight negative tone, which again soured the markets for the coming days, regardless of perhaps not having an immediate effect. Now, during Wednesday, the predominant sentiment was a risk-off tone because now people were afraid that Trump and China were not going to come to an agreement. Taking advantage of this and knowing what was posted in the terminal, I took a short position on some high beta currencies in favor of some safe haven assets, which again led me into some profitable trades. However, that was pretty much it. Thursday resulted being a relatively quiet day in terms of macroeconomic catalysts that could potentially move the markets, and the only thing that happened was there was an Australian jobs report coming in the afternoon, and leading up to it we were briefed through the terminal of what exactly were the expectations and what could be seen as a possible deviation of that particular shift. Unfortunately, I still had a position that was short the Euro Aussie at the time, so the moment the news came out, it came out really quite bad for the Australian dollar. Well, first thing I did was immediately I placed a short order on the Aussie dollar. I placed a short, and then I went into my orders and I closed one that was trading the opposite direction, which resulted in a loss, which then I made up for with the trade in the opposite direction. Luckily, I still had enough time to, in the franticness of the moment, I also shorted the Aussie CAD, which maybe was not the best currency pair to trade up with, but it also resulted me in some nice profits. Then on Friday, one final thing that happened is I was still holding on to a short position on USD NOK ever since maybe over a week ago, and it was very, very negative for a very long time. But then on Friday, the risk on tone persisted. This strengthened the high beta currencies, the Norwegian crown being kind of one of them. So I could have taken a short position, but I prefer to close out on Fridays of all my positions. But I was lucky, and this was brought down right down to my take profit, which was pretty much at break even. Now, highlighted here are my trades of the week. In total, I took about 26 positions, even though taking into account that this does include the financing, which comes from the interest rate differentials. Here is the return on each of the trades, which my week resulted in a 3.19% return, which was quite good. In conclusion, I just wanted to share with you exactly how it is that I use this terminal to better my trading and how it actually has improved my game. I'm looking forward to making more in-depth videos about my use of this particular terminal, to how it has been bettering my trade on pretty much every single day. The only downside that I find is that the audio news stream that they provide is not available on mobile, so it makes it a little bit difficult to be tuned in to the news while you're not directly behind a computer, but I guess that's also okay because it might drive us crazy. Next week, I want to go more in depth into exactly the moments I'm making the trades. I want to record my screen the moment to see exactly how it all is playing out. I want to increase my risk factor just a bit, make it a bit more exciting, especially now that I have found some more confidence. And I look forward to sharing it with you in next week's video. So I'll see you then.